We think, investigate, create, innovate, and we collaborate, strengthening pre-college research in the Philippines, driving youth's passion for science through intensive seminars, workshops, and rigorous training. With something new, exciting, and relevant for you, with the prevailing value of an ISEF finalist. This 2020 and beyond, we, the Niap network of ISEF Alumni Philippines, is officially coming back. Come and join us as we mold young Filipino scientists and researchers towards promoting science for the public for a better world to live. Together as a community, as fellow science-driven individuals, we will continue to aspire, thrive, and transcend limitations. We are the network of ISEF Alumni Philippines.
So wow, that video really shows how great an ISEF experience is. So a pleasant morning, everyone. Welcome to ISEF Philippines Stage Series Episode 4, entitled Building a Future with Pre-College Research, brought to you by the network of ISEF Alumni Philippines. So I am Lorraine Joy Bales, ISEF Batch 2020, and I will be your host for today's webinar. So we are now live here at Zoom and as well as in our Facebook page. So special shout out there to everyone watching through Facebook. Rest assured that you're part of this program. So before anything else, let's first do a heads up for audiences. So you can type your names and where you're from in the chat box here in Zoom or in the comment section if you're watching live on Facebook. So we would love to know where you all are from. So, all right. So while you're typing your names, I just want to say that this is by far one of the most in-demand and anticipated episode of ISEF Philippines Stage Series. So, of course, who wouldn't be excited knowing the caliber of our amazing and world-class guest speakers for today? So, but before I introduce them to you, let's first hear the words of welcome from our ever dynamic and supportive interim head, Mr. Elson Ayan Galang from ISEF 2012.
Hi everyone, good morning. So fun fact, this is the very first episode that we did in the morning because we have such star-studded guests from all over the world. I am Elson, I am the head of the network of ISEF Alumni Philippines. I am also an ISEF alumnus from ISEF 2012. We are just so excited to bring you this event with these amazing, brilliant, and really globally accomplished ISEF alumni that we have. I myself is very much excited to be part of this event. So we really hope that through this episode, we could really encourage you to pursue pre-college research and even pursue a STEM career in the future. There's a lot for you in store when you do research. And I think these three speakers that we have right now are going to share very inspiring stories and even advice on how to deal with pre-college research and could have a very good future with research. So guys, I won't take much time because I know you want to hear these amazing speakers that we have. So back to you, Lorraine, and see you in this episode.
So thank you so much for inspiring words, Kuya Elson. So are you guys all excited? So give us a thumbs up sign if you are. All right, I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up sign here. So now to formally start this event, allow me to introduce to you our guest speakers. So they are renowned and accomplished people who brought immense pride to the Philippines at Intel ISEF and continually bring great honor to our country through their current research works. So first, we have an ISEF 2001 alumna, Dr. Reynabel Reyes. So dubbed as the Philippines who proved Einstein right, she is currently an associate professor at the National Institute of Physics at UP Diliman, who earned her PhD in astrophysics from Princeton University, USA. So next is 2010 ISEF alumnus Mr. Mark Mapalo, who is currently a PhD student in organismic and evolutionary biology at Harvard University and works on paleontological and modern related studies to investigate the evolution of the body plan of tardigrades and their relatives. So last but not the least is Mr. Miguel Reyes, an ISEF 2011 alumnus. He is a PhD candidate in biological engineering at the prestigious Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He is currently involved in groundbreaking research works in medical and biological engineering. So once again, let's give them a virtual round of applause. All right. So good morning, Dr. Reina, Kuya Mark, and Kuya Miguel. I hope the three of you are all doing great.
Good morning, Lorraine. Good morning to everyone who's joined us today. Thank you for spending your Sunday morning with us, and I look forward to the conversation we'll have.
Yeah, likewise. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Actually, good evening, Dito from Cambridge. So I guess I'm the one responsible for the timing. So sorry kung masyadong maaga.
You're fine. You're fine.
You all look fantastic today, and I am so honored to be doing this panel with such esteemed ISEF alumni like you all are. So so to start, we have quite some sort of a challenge for you. So are you all right with that, Po?
Okay, game.
So in 1 minute, could you still recall or can you still explain to us the pre-college research that brought you into ISEF?
Logi ako dito. Let them start.
So ako yata yung most recent, so maybe I should go first. So yeah, ISEF 2011. My research was on material science and engineering. So the goal of my project was to basically make a better biodegradable plastic. So during that time, people were making plastics from starch, like the one we use in our kitchens. And what I did was, in order to make the plastic have better properties, I added some nanoparticles that we synthesized to make the material stronger. So that was the gist of the project.
Cool.
Yeah, so I guess I'm next. So I'm ISEF 2010, and I was actually in a team category. So I was with two other people. So shout out to my teammates, Jean and Aya. And so yeah, so we were our project was entitled "The Use of Natural Flocculants in Mitigating Harmful Algal Blooms." Right? I mean,
wow, memorized.
Yes. I mean, it's just. I mean, I think it's because it's simple. Like the title explains itself, really. Like what we did. So we tried to like look for natural products that could help mitigate, stop the the red tides that's like prevalent in our country. So we use like I think malunggay seeds, some chitin, which is like can be extracted from these shrimp fillings, and I forgot what the other one was, but something like that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, my turn. I don't remember the title now, but interestingly, it's a neural network model to forecast pawikan, egg, parang hatching of eggs. So I got this data set from the Marine Science Institute. And then I worked together with the UP physics professor, Dr. Chris Monterola, who was working on neural networks even then. So interesting lang on hindsight, no, na now, if you're familiar with the field of data science and machine learning, the neural networks actually made the breakthrough in AI and deep learning because of the big data that we have now. But the actual algorithms were decades old, and actually had the chance to work on that when I was in high school. And now I find myself a data scientist. So, you can connect the dots nga daw from hindsight. But of course, I didn't have any idea then. So it's good to reminisce and to look back also. Thank you.
So thank you so much for that. But I'm quite surprised that you can still vividly recall your researches. So all your researches sounds great, and no wonder that you bag a major awards in Intel ISEF. So I think now we could proceed to the panel discussion. So our next question is meant to be addressed by all rin. So, what were your favorite or unforgettable memories when you were doing your pre-college research?
Who wants to start?
I mean, I can start since Miguel started earlier. So yeah, for me, I think my unforgettable moments are the experiments, definitely, because like, as I mentioned, we were a team. So I and Jean and I were like, always excited when we tried to do experiments. But at the same time, at least if we face some problems, at least it was not only me who's like trying to solve it, and it was really a teamwork. So of course, we also have like our advisor, Ma'am Murata. So she and the team were really like very we were enjoying our experiments. It's because, and I think that's one thing that I would really remember in that experience, in that pre-research experiment that we've had.
For me naman, I guess you don't choose these things, no. Somehow there are memories that stick with you. And for me, it was that night where I had to, where our printer broke down, and I had to go to a neighbor's house to print my my reports. And it was nighttime, but thankfully a family friend parang helped us out and actually allowed me to use their paper and printer and ink to get this report by the deadline. So I guess it's memorable because there's this deadline, and but good ending naman because you're able to make it.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to add as well, like if it's okay, like I remember like for our research, so we need red tide, right? And we need the organisms to have red tide. And then at the time, like there was no red tide in Leyte. So we decided, actually we planned to like go to Sorsogon, I think, because at the time there was red tide in that place. And so a week before we're like planning to leave, and the funny thing is like the red tide occurred in Leyte. So I don't know if it's like a blessing.
Sinundan
Red
kayo.
tide is bad, right? So but yeah, it's just like, so we did not end up like leaving our home, our island. So we just like connected from Leyte instead. So it was really memorable as well.
For me naman, it's also related to the experiments, because I had to be a little resourceful because we were trying to make calcium phosphate nanoparticles, and there's a specific synthetic method, pero their agents were not available in the lab. So I found this other way to do it, but we had to use just a conventional microwave. So I still remember being in chem lab, mixing all their agents in a little bowl, and then going to the dorm, microwaving there, and then going back. In retrospect, it probably wasn't the safest, but it was. Yeah, we had to find a way.
Yeah, we really need to be resourceful sometimes.
Resourceful, right. Ask for
to go. Yeah.
Yes. Use all the resources available to you, including family, friends.
That's true.
So thank you so much for those. I think we all can relate, especially with what Dr. Reina said about the printer, since it's a major struggles among the researchers nowadays. So,
Uy, sana naman online na lang ngayon. But yes, I understand.
So thank you so much for those experiences, po, because I personally believe that in doing research, what matters the most are the learnings, experiences, and the memories that you will gather along the way. So now for our next question, do you have any hardship that you have faced during your pre-college research? So now in this question, Dr. Reina, do you want to go first?
Naku, yung printer pa rin yung no, but really,
acceptable.
I think what's I mean, related naman is really the writing. I think Also because it's individual, so I guess I had to write the whole thing. Actually now, maybe I should also point out that in that year, I was also part of a team. So shout out to my teammates who are also accomplished now, scientists and a doctor in their fields. But I guess that's part of it. No, I had to balance the ISEF projects, the research projects at the time. Of course, we were just joining the local competition. So we had a team project and my individual project, and of course the usual classwork that you have to also keep up with. So it's an early lesson on, I don't know, managing your time and resources, and keeping calm amidst the many requirements. That's ano. And then turns out, diba, it's nothing, diba? From hindsight, parang wala lang pala yun. It was nothing, diba? As you mature, the responsibilities become bigger. But at the same time, of course, I think that's why you grow, diba? So I think it's a good the discipline of that. It's a good experience for me.
So thank you so much for that, po. So who wanna go next?
Yeah, I can go next. Yeah, naalala ko pa yung so after we do experiments in the lab, since the only way we can test the materials we made, we had to go to DOST. So I would take the MRT from Pisay main campus in Diliman, and about maybe an hour. Actually, pag rush hour, 2 oras ka naghihintay. So dala ko yung material na synthesize sa lab. Tapos magti-train sa DOST campus, because we had actually one of my old mentors.
Bikutan.
Yeah, in Bikutan. Yeah, in Bikutan. One of my old mentors. I did an internship there the summer before I did my ISEF project, so I had a connection there. So dun namin ginawa yung mga tests na kailangan for the project. So yeah, I think it kind of speaks to what Reina said a while ago, and just being resourceful is really important. Like kadalasan yung mga kailangan natin for research is it's scattered across different institutions, and it might take a while to get to them. Pero if you wanna finish a project, you do everything it takes. Yeah.
Yes, I can personally relate, po, because in doing our research, we had to travel all the way from Iloilo to Manila just to conduct one test in DOST Admatel po in Manila, in Taguig. So yeah. So how about you, po, Kuya Mark?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's also the same. It's like really the hard part's really the resources, because I mean, I was not in Manila for my high school. I was like in Leyte. So I remember that we need to do this water chemistry test, and for that to do so for us to like do that, we have to go to a different city in our island. So and the thing is that we're high school students, and the sad part is that sometimes we have to actually pay for what we have to we have to pay the expenses on our own. And as high school students, we don't have any like really income aside from our stipend from Pisay. So it was like but I think that's the one thing that I always remember is like the challenges of like and then like knowing where these resources are, because like if you don't know anyone, or like if you don't reach out, you won't really like know that these kinds of things exist. I'm just like lucky that some of our faculties know that that this city has this water chemistry thing, testing, all that stuff. And yeah, I clearly remember we hire a van to go to that water chemistry testing. And then like I think there was also another research group who needs to like do the water chemistry testing. So we just like chipped in for the van as well. Yeah. And then we waited for the result like after like 2 weeks or something like that. So yeah. But you have to do what you have to do, right? So
yeah. So thank you so much for sharing those experiences, and I believe that after all those hardships, our experiences will always be worth it in the end once we finish our research. So now let's do some sort of fast forward. Now, can you share with us about the current research that you are working on, and how did your pre-college research experiences shape your current research direction? So, Kuya Miguel, can you go first?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, what I'm doing right now actually is very different from what I did back during my pre-college research. So my pre-college was in material science. Now I'm doing biological engineering research. So specifically, we're building devices to look at immune responses in people with severe bacterial or viral infections. So actually, part of the reasons why I'm here still in Cambridge is because we are looking at some studies into COVID-19 patients, and we're trying to decipher from an immunology standpoint why some patients diverge into severe disease and why some just have mild disease. And in terms of how I got here from my pre-college research, I think it really was just keeping an open mind and kind of seeing where my interests take me. So I started doing material science research in high school. So I did material science for college, and then I did sort of a hybrid material science plus bioengineering project there. So that's why I ended up in a PhD program in bioengineering.
So wow, that was so great, Po. So now, Dr. Reina.
Yeah. So for me, well, I guess I ended up in astrophysics. So from, I think it was clear naman from high school that I wanted to do physics, and then eventually I did my PhD in astrophysics, and in particular, in a way, you can call it big data in astronomy or data science in astronomy, because essentially we take advantage of the availability of survey data, galaxies, for example. You don't do it now one at a time, but you have the millions of galaxies, the data from millions of galaxies, and you can do many cool things. So that's called essentially one. Now I'm calling it data-driven astronomy. So basically, you can discover new things about the universe by analyzing data. And now I'm starting a group. I've started a group just this year in UP National Institute of Physics, UP NIP, to keep doing this work. And in particular, we're looking now at gravitational wave data. So to study black holes and interesting compact objects. So I guess if you try to connect the dots backward, interestingly, I think it's the at the core of it, it's data. So any kind of data, whether it's about galaxies, or it's about pawikan, or it's about Facebook, social media interactions, they of course are about different things, but the underlying methods and techniques to analyze the data, to collect, analyze, and model and present the data are similar and transferable. So that's like a common thread. Yeah, now it's actually a big field of data science where I find myself in as well.
Wow, that is so great, Po. Now, Kuya Mark.
Yeah, so I guess most people know that I work with tardigrades. So these are like people know them like water bears or moss piglets. So I mean they're invertebrates.
In your background, right?
Yeah, so this is like I got it from like Ant-Man. So if you watch Ant-Man 2, they're in the quantum space, or
It's
basic
good.
physics. Right?
Cool.
Yeah, so this is a scene from Ant-Man. But yeah, so I work with tardigrades, and yeah, so I'm currently in an invertebrate paleontology lab. So I'm actually a trained molecular biologist, but then I joined an invertebrate fossil lab because I wanted to like just combine the as I as you mentioned earlier, what I was doing, like I want to combine the modern data, from genomics and all this stuff, and the paleontological data, fossil data, and to try to see to understand how tardigrades evolved, like how, especially like how their body, like why they look like that, and so on. So this really came from my experience, because I, aside from tardigrades, I also work with ancient DNA. So I extracted like ancient DNA from ancient bones when I was still in Sweden. So it was, and at the time I really like realized how ancient data could complement well with modern data. So and they want to translate that with tardigrades, because those are my lovely organisms. So yeah, and in terms of like pre-research experience, I would say that one thing that I really got from there is the appreciation of research. And by the time that I started my while I was doing my ISEF, when I was in the ISEF, I really was amazed by the amount of research that high school students could do. And then like and then you kind of realize, like, if you're just a high school student, you can already do that. What more if you're really trained well in as an undergrad, and even if you like proceed to a PhD. And so when I entered the university, I already know that I'm going to do research, even though like molecular biology was like a pre-med course as well. I know that I want to have a PhD instead of an MD. So that's one of those, I think ISEF really had this, really made me, sorry, one of the reasons why I really chose research as a career path. And I guess it's also worth mentioning that my flatmate right now in Cambridge, she's from Colombia, and she's in the same cohort as me, and we're doing the same PhD in the same year. And she also did the same master's program that I did in Europe, but she was just a cohort younger, so a year younger. And so I've known her for a few years now, and she, we're flatmates already for almost 2 years. And I just learned like a year ago, like last December, that she was actually the representative of Colombia in the 2010 ISEF. So it was like, I was really mind blown, the chance of having that, the chance of, we were in the same master's program, and now we're in the same PhD, and now we're roommates. And I was like, wow. So I never really asked her like how ISEF like affected her career, but I bet it somehow like affected her research trajectory. And it's just like, it's just when you think about it, we were like 10 years ago, we were in the same city in San Jose, and like participating in the same.
You probably saw each other.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've met, because like there were 1,000 students, right? But I do remember, I do remember some Colombians there. So
right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Maybe you have the pin from Colombia. Naalala mo pa yung pin exchange during.
Yeah, it was actually, I actually have it, and it's a nice thing that I still, like, we're still able to like I was still able to like keep it, like despite having after Yolanda and all that stuff, na safe pa siya. So
wow.
Yeah,
you should show her.
I'm sure it's somewhere out there,
Like, pero nga, I remember, mine is still in my parents' house actually.
Yeah. Those pins are really nice.
Maybe that's destiny po, Kuya Mark.
No.
That's a major sana all moment for all of us. So thank you so much, Paul, for those wonderful experiences, and I hope your current researches could ignite a spark inside our participants today to strive harder, especially in our pre-college research, because who knows, we might be as accomplished as you all are in the near future. So now this question is directed for Dr. Reina. So, for you, po, what were the most important skills and values do you think that pre-college research give you to help embark on your journey as the Filipino who proved Einstein right?
Oh, naman. Wow. No, yes, I think what Mark said actually resonated. No? This mindset of doing research, and the confidence that you can actually do it yourself, no, that you can be a young scientist, and that puts you along a path where you can be a, mature professional scientist. So for me, that was part, yeah, that was part of the journey. um, um, what else? And the discipline, I guess it's different because, of course, we appreciate research by reading about what other people have done, right? Or studying what the discoveries are, and we do that in school, right? And in our own reading and learning. But the experience of actually doing it yourself, from start to end, right? From choosing a problem, to understanding the problem, looking for the resources or the approach, right? Designing the approach, the experiments, or the modeling, and then actually getting results, diba? The fun of that, and then writing it up and presenting it to others. That's essentially the scientific research process, right? And that's what we're still doing right now. But we get to experience that end to end, in a very personal and very personal way. Um, um, makes makes that mark, and you learn so much about yourself. And I guess for us, we learned that we enjoy it, right? And we're somehow also good at it, right? Which is a good validation from the world, and that sort of gives you that boost to say na you're in the right path, and then you just keep pushing, and you see, it can lead you to so many places. So yeah.
So thank you so much for that, Dr. Reina. I really agree with everything you said, especially with discipline being one of the most important value in doing research. So now for Kuya Miguel, what do you think are the most important elements of a successful research? Not only limited to pre-college research, that have helped you conduct these groundbreaking researches on medical bioengineering.
Yeah, in terms of elements of research, I think one thing that's really important, like even when I was doing my pre-college research, was the value of my mentors. So not just my formal research supervisor, but also people you kind of meet along the way, older students, old internship advisors. Like I can't imagine having done any of the projects I've done in the several years without all these connections I've made in the past. So for example, I mentioned nung ginagawa ko yung ISEF project ko, I had some advice from my previous internship supervisor at ITDI in the Department of Science and Technology sa Bikutan. And even now, I have, for example, a formal set of advisors. Pero in addition to that, I still try to reach out to other professors, other more senior graduate students, and other alumni of the lab. Sometimes for direct advice and research, and sometimes also just for help. For example, research is hard, as we all know. So sometimes there are challenges along the way, and it's nice to kind of talk to people who have been through it in the past. So yeah, don't underestimate the value of having a wide network of mentors, both formal and informally, and I think that really adds a lot of value into the research that you do.
So thank you so much for that, Kuya Miguel. That's very amazing po. Now for Kuya Mark, as the country's leading tardigrade scientist, how do you think that students should approach or think about their pre-college research to become as accomplished as you in their future careers?
Okay. I mean, I don't know if I'm the leading tardigrade specialist really in the country. But there, I mean, like, just want to point out though that I mean, like, when I was still doing my undergrad, there were actually other people who there were three of us who did tardigrade research, but the other two actually went to business now. They're not doing science, but still. Anyway, so I guess for me, I'm always an advocate of basic research, and I think I want to like emphasize how like how useful basic research is. And coming from the Philippines, and then like, having my experience working in the Philippine research as well, I feel like the Philippines is too much focus on applied research. And I want to say that basic research is equally important. Behind all those applied research is a very strong it's a very strong basic research. So it's a good foundation for all applied research. And I want people to like appreciate that, that is important, that, basic research is not just simple. It's actually like hard as well to do. And and then you don't know, like, even though at the time you don't know where it will become, where it will lead you, like, what this research will lead you into, like, it will still be useful in the future. So I guess I'll just use myself as an example. My very first publication was a description of this new species of a tardigrade. And for me, it's basic research, right? And people might say just it's simple, but it's not simple. Really, describing a new species is so hard, especially that if you're not trained to do it. So yeah, and then like this publication actually led me to a lot of like opportunities. I've met a lot of like collaborators in the expert of the field, and I went to like I was able to publish these different articles, and I was able to go to got a scholarship abroad, and I would say it actually like one of those like it's a domino effect. This publication led me to where I am right now here in Harvard. So yeah, so I guess that's just it. So if you're in pre-college research, it's fine if you're not doing any applied research, because basic research is I would say that there's even a lot of basic research that can be done in the Philippines, like really good basic research that we're just not utilizing or not being funded. So yeah.
So thank you so much. We are really amazed with everything you shared, and we are more than honored to be all to have you all three as our guests today. So now for Dr. Reina, since I think we have several research teachers here among the audience, as an educator as well, what are your advice and suggestions for our pre-college research teachers and mentors?
Yes, mabuhay po sa lahat ng mga teachers that are joining today or listening to this later. Saludo po sa lahat ng ginagawa ninyo para sa mga bata, lalo na this year, no, with unprecedented challenges talaga. But we know that our teachers are always there and guiding us. So very lucky, and very grateful for that. As an educator myself, I now also know the other side of the story. And I guess I wanted to share something that I recently spoke with a fellow teacher. It resonates with the conversation we've had here today. At the end of the day, what do we really want to achieve in this hard process of doing a pre-college research project? At the end of the day, and it applies also to all our different subjects, whether it be math, physics, Filipino, history. At the end of the day, actually, you want to cultivate or you want to spark love for the subject. But it's what we want. We want to share with the students what we know. That this is actually something that they can enjoy and love and do and keep doing. And that started our fields, and that's in no small credit to our teachers and our mentors who gave us that opportunity. So I guess putting more just putting a focus on that, right? At the end of the day, it's not about the awards, it's not about the grade, it's not about the of course those are nice too, right? But at the end of the day, if you if we cultivated love for the subject, that's it, diba? It's just a joy to see the students grow and find their own way, diba? Actually, you didn't get the award, but you become you become a published scientist. That's an even greater, greater return on investment, or ROI, if you want to put it in the terms. Unfortunately, we're not credited for that, but that's actually why we do what we do. I think at the end of the day, right? We want to share this love, and we want to instill it on our students. So that's my message for my fellow teachers.
So thank you so much for that, Dr. Reina, because I can personally relate as well, because I can also remember what our research advisor had told us, because there are also moments where we think about giving up, or like we are not doing our best, but I realized that what matters the most is you love what you're doing and you have passion for what you're doing, because I believe that research is not only for the sake of doing it, or for the sake of having an award or for winning, but what matters the most is that you are helping the society and you're contributing something to the community. So thank you so much for that. Now for for Kuya Mark and Kuya Miguel, this question is meant to be answered by the both of you. So as pioneering scientists in your respective fields, what are your suggestions for our young researchers so that they could elevate and push their research towards the frontiers of their respective topics? So any one of you could go first, Bob.
Yeah, I guess I can go first. So I think first, don't be afraid to like do new things. And I think a lot of researchers in tardigrade, the tardigrade world really try to like elucidate how tardigrades survive in different stress response, like the how they could survive in space, or like the lack of water and all that stuff. And for me, since it's like a lot of people are already doing that, I try to like look for other things that other people don't do, because like there's still a lot of things to be known about tardigrades. So that's the field that I've been doing. All the research that I've done with tardigrades, they're I would say like pioneering, or I don't know, for example, like the tardigrade immune system or something like that. So yeah, don't be afraid to try new things. And second is probably don't be afraid to reach out to the experts. So like for example, people who are like fun with astrophysics, you can reach out Ms. Reina here. So like I mean, like, the worst thing that you'll experience is they won't reply really. So it's like, yeah, but then they're just an email away, And although I would say that some of them are really flocked with lots of emails, so I mean you should be patient with like I bet Reina could are experiencing that right now. But yeah, don't be afraid to reach out to experts. That's what I did when I learned that at first I did not know that the species that I was culturing was a new species. But then when I reached out to this Polish collaborator, to this Polish guy, and then eventually became collaborators, he's the one who pointed out, oh, it's actually a new species. They want to write a paper about it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, why not? So yeah. And then like the last thing is collaboration, I think. So in this, this era, everyone's just been collaborating. And I think it adds, and I think it's a good thing that a lot of research is better if it's a holistic way of doing it. And I think that's what biomedical engineering is. You just like combining all those like different fields, just amazing. So yeah.
Yeah. To add to that, actually, what I'm going to suggest is something related to what Reina does. Is there's a lot of data out there. There's lots of publicly available data. So one of the advantage of doing science these days is that all those experiments most of them have uploaded their data publicly for people to access and analyze. So I think that's actually a really, really good resource for everyone, including myself. So in addition to the experiments I do in lab, usually I would go to experiments that people have done in the past, or I download their genomic data, their sequencing data, and see if their results align with the findings that I have. So I think it's really powerful if you know how to take advantage of publicly available data sets and data sets that people have already acquired. And yeah, like Mark said, don't be afraid to reach out. So if someone, if you want someone's data and it's not available, you could always email them. And I think because research is really highly collaborative, almost everyone that I've reached out to have gotten back to me, and we're happy to share and collaborate. So don't be afraid to do that, especially now. One of the things that this pandemic has highlighted is that we can do a lot of things virtually, a lot of collaborations, and really the power of having all these computing resources at hand. I think it empowers. It's going to empower research more.
So thank you so much to all aspiring.
I just want to add something to that point. No, from the scientist perspective, they're actually so happy that someone read their paper and is interested in what they're doing. So don't think of it as something that you're burdening them with. You're actually expressing your interest, but of course, do your homework, right? Read the paper, try to understand as best as you can, make the request politely and respectfully. But if you think about it, right, because science research is so specialized, we're just happy to know that others are also interested in what we're doing, and maybe we can even collaborate in the future. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out.
So thank you so much, Dr. Reina. To all aspiring researchers out there, let's all take note, because I know that everything they shared will be very vital as we embark on our journey in our pre-college or even in our research afterwards. So thank you so much. Thank you for all your very inspirational messages to all of us. So at this juncture, we're giving everyone, the participants, and even the viewers on Facebook, the opportunity to ask questions for our guest speakers. So you all can open your cameras and unmute yourselves, or you can just type your questions in the chat box. So if you have any questions, just don't hesitate, because this is our chance to ask for advice and insights from these renowned and brilliant individuals. So right now we are waiting here in chat box.
So, hello, Lorraine. Can I ask you a question?
Sure, Ate Bea.
Okay. Hello po. I'm Bea po, ISEF Alumni Batch 19, and currently a BS Agriculture student at UPLB. So, my question po is actually for everyone. What matters more po ba in applying in the Ivy League universities? Is it the grades po ba, or the experiences of a person?
I think I have a quick answer to that. Very interestingly, of course, we cannot really speak for every but what I learned, and I think it's true, for I can speak for graduate school, no. So for graduate school, so that's PhD programs. What they're really looking for is the potential to do research. Because graduate degrees are research degrees, right? It's not about the grades anymore. It's not about learning what's on the book. No, it's about actually contributing to research. You join a lab, or you work with a professor and actually produce new knowledge, right? And that's what we're all talking about here. So at that level, what they're looking for is, they say, potential. It's not even that you have done it already, right? Of course, that's a good sign of a good way to show that you can do it if you've done something already, but doesn't have to be something grand or something big, diba? As Mark said, diba? If you can establish that you have done you have the discipline of the research process in one way or another, through your thesis or through your other work, that's how they're because the other way to think about it is from their point of view, right? From my point of view, I'm an institution. What do I want to get? How do I choose between these many talented applicants from all around the world. What they really want is to keep their research vibrant and productive, right? And for that, they need scientists. So they need scientists that they can train and mentor to become productive as well. So I guess I'm sharing this also because for me that was so liberating, because at first I thought that I had to have already publications and work with with professors, but actually when someone told me it's actually the potential that they're looking for, the potential that is enough, parang ganon, the potential is enough. So that gave me confidence as well, that we can actually have that opportunity. So thanks for the question. I'll let the others, of course, they have from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's a bit different. I would say it's like, I would say that grades is also is a factor, definitely. I mean, it's the hard truth, really. Unfortunately, I believe that grades really shouldn't matter. But then, like right now, some grad students, some grad school are still looking at grades. But as I've mentioned, but then grad committees still look at you like holistically. Like for example, if you want to apply to like a high-tiered university, everyone who's applying there have high grades. So what makes you different from others? And I think this is in relation to what Reina said. If we're having a potential, like if you have the potential to like advance the field of research that you want to do, then people, the committee would really hire you. And then at least for my case, the way how I showed it was like, having publications or having lots of research experience. So before I did my PhD, I've like had like 4 years of research experience already, behind me. So, and yeah, so I think it was really important. I think research experiences really is a very big factor in applying for a PhD. So,
Kuya Mark, I have a follow-up question po. If it's okay to ask this, can we know po ano po yung jiwa mo po ng college? So that, ano po na, may idea po kami kung ano po yung dapat na target mark namin.
Yeah, so I'm not Suma, I'm Magna, but my jiwa was like 1.24, something like that.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, and then like, yeah.
Thank you po for that.
No worries.
Clear.
Well, I guess just to add to that then, since you're applying for grad school or even undergrad, they even they put more emphasis on your subjects in the field, right? So for example, physics kami, then diba, you have to ideally you do well in your physics subjects, diba? If you don't do so well in PE or something, you could just explain that why, diba? But there's also a distinction between your core subjects and the non-major subjects.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, like the only low grades that I had really was like from PI 100 or something like that. It was like it's a good thing we don't have to like. Yeah, I think I got a 225 from there or something like that. It was funny, but still.
Yeah, I just want to add. So from MIT, one thing that a lot of the departments here are doing now is they're dropping the GRE. So I think that sort of speaks to how there's less emphasis on your grades, but rather more on your research potential. And I think it's really great because it makes it easier for a lot of us to apply for these graduate programs. Because mahal mag-take ng GRE, I think it's a couple of $100. So parang 5,000 or so pesos yata. And so it's becoming easier and easier to apply to these programs, and really they're looking for more diverse cohorts. So I really encourage everyone, if you are really interested in doing research and have demonstrated it through various engagements, then you should definitely apply.
So thank you so much. I think we have a question here in chat box from Lowell Alfonso. So she asked that annually, division, regional, and national levels of science and technology fair transpires to the effort of DepEd. So in relation to this, do you entertain consultations as qualified scientists for public school, junior high school, and senior high school students who wanted to join these fairs? I think all of you can answer po.
I guess for me, yes, definitely. As we said earlier nga, di ba, don't hesitate to reach out. Siguro I would just qualify to say na, of course, I would be more helpful for if the topics are also aligned with my expertise and experience, right? So, yun, anything about data or astronomy, I'll be happy to give feedback. And then, of course, for other fields, I'm sure you'll find other people who have worked on that field or related fields, and of course, better to get feedback from them. I guess one thing as also I can do is I can help connect with people from that field. So for example, if I get something that's not my field, I can direct them to someone, another Pinoy scientist, who can help, who can help. So yun, I guess it just comes from the fact that science is so specialized, and we're happy to help how we can. Yeah.
So I think for maybe for Kuya Mark and Kuya Miguel, how do you think can students build a network of scientists and mentors to help them with their research projects?
Yeah, that's a good question. So one thing is just cold calling or cold emailing people. If you think the research is very interesting, then feel free to reach out. You'd be surprised how some people would just respond. So that's one thing. The other one is just always look for opportunities to network. ISEF was a good one, and also, and I think more important than looking for new connections is keeping old ones. So you never know where that person you encountered at an event. There's doing research in a particular topic, and then later on, you'll realize, oh, baka makakatulong pala si ganito sa current problem ko ngayon. So yeah, I think it's both expanding and make sure to keep your old connections alive.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think conferences are really important. You meet a lot of possible collaborators, meet new and old friends as well. So a lot of my I've met someone in a target symposium actually, like that sequenced my target for free or something like that, because he wants some species. I also met like my PI there, my teacher PI. I've met him there and we talked like possible projects, and that's where like he accepted me in for PhD. And so yeah, it's a lot of opportunities really, and you just have to reach out. Yeah, that's great.
So thank you so much for that, Kuya Miguel and Kuya Mark. I guess we can cater one last question from Kuya Neil.
Hello po. I have one question po, and this can be answered by anyone po, even from everyone po. So, since you guys are so established with your individual fields, if you'll be able to go back, and if you can say something to your 16-year-old self right now, what would it be po? Doc Reyna.
Yeah, actually, the first thing that comes to mind is to tell her to be more chill lang, because I guess I was more intense. I think looking back, I was even more intense then, if you can imagine. Uh, from perspective, it's like the world is not falling, no. But at the same time, I think it's good, no? Parang she was really serious about it. So I think that helped, of course. So on hindsight, good job. Good job. This is all great.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I'll just say that, to my 16-year-old self, that, just keep on, how do you say this? Just keep on believing in yourself, and just keep on eating all the things that you want to eat and all that stuff. So I was really fat when I was years old. I mean, if you see my pictures, like in my ISEF program, I really was. But anyway, so, and then, yeah, eventually you'll lose everything. I'm sorry, like everything eventually you'll achieve what you want to do anyway. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Like, just keep on believing.
Yeah, I want to echo that too, and just say, if something doesn't work, it's gonna be okay. Yeah, I think I was like Reina. I was really hard on myself when I was 16, and I wish I could tell myself, wag ka masyadong ma-stress if something doesn't work, if you don't get this scholarship or whatsoever. There's plenty of opportunities, and one of the things you learn when doing research is that things will always fail, and it's how you sort of get back up, and that's what makes good researchers good.
I just also want to like add on that even though I'm already like, in Harvard and all this stuff, and people might think that I'm accomplished or something like that. Behind all those accomplishments are also rejections. So I mean, it's a normal thing that we experience, and I think it's a good experience to have a rejection, because it will help you, help you know how to adapt to these kinds of things. Yeah, I have had a couple of rejections before and all this stuff, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm here now doing something that I want to do. I'm doing so. Yeah.
I just got a paper rejected last week.
It's part of the process. It's part of the journey.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You learn
It's
that
part
over
of
time.
Yeah. The rejection like kind of helps you improve, and because feedback always comes with rejection. So it will show you how to make yourself better.
Yeah, as time goes by, magiging manhid ka na rin nun eh. Like, oh yeah, it's normal. That's one thing you will really know. I mean,
that's the part of the maturity. Yeah.
Exactly.
Part of the maturity.
Yeah.
And part of
mga bagsak rin sa grade, so it's also fine. So yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I personally agree po, because I think challenges and failures will always be a part of our journey if we want to be successful in the future. So yeah. So unfortunately, that's the only time that we have left for this open forum with our guest speakers. So I think that's it. Have you all learned something today, guys? Give us a thumbs up sign if you did, because I'm sure you all did.
I myself learned a lot as well.
Yeah.
Me too.
So on behalf of Niap, our sincere gratitude to Dr. Reina Reyes, Mr. Mark Mapalo, and Mr. Miguel Reyes for serving as our inspirations and giving us a sense of hope and motivation, especially in the context of science and research. So we are very grateful for your time and effort, despite your busy schedules. And we are very hoping for your continued success in all of your endeavors. So Naya would also like to send thanks to the people watching. So thank you for joining us in this event. And we sincerely hope that you have picked up a piece of knowledge or two. And I hope our speakers were able to inspire and motivate you on your pre-college journey. So, by the way, we will give certificates of appreciation for those who have attended this webinar